All right. Thank you to everyone that is on the call. I'm sure we'll have some more join us as we get going. But as promised last month in the kickoff meeting, I really want to start on time and end on time. I know time is very important to all of us. So we're going to go ahead and get this kicked off. First, I want to thank New Mexico Mutual for their sponsorship of the Big I New Mexico BigiLEAD program. I'm really excited to get it going. We have some great speakers lined up uh, throughout the year. And so I hope you're able to join us on all of them. If not, no big worries. We are recording all of our videos, and they'll be accessible to our members as we go forward. So please join us in person if you can. I understand sometimes we can't always do that. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to introduce and hand the mic over to Angela Bunch. She's with the Angela Adams Consulting Company. They're out of South Carolina. She'll fill you in a little bit more on a little bit about her and what she does, and then take over the presentation from there. So, Angela, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, as he said, I'm Angela Bunch, and I am the Western Regional Manager with Angela Adams Consulting. We're celebrating our 20th year in business this year. So, we have consultants all across the country. We are very passionate about independent agencies and helping them grow. And whether it's people, operations, workflows, you name it, and we've got your back. So we really are very happy insurance people. I'm one of the weird ones. I chose insurance, it did not choose me. And I also think insurance and fun belong in the same sentence. So, y'all got the right one for today. um, Welcome you guys to the CSR, and they are retention, reputation, and revenue protection. Um, Today, I want to be clear. We're going to refrain the CSR role, not as support, not as admin, but as protection. So I want to kind of start out with a little bit of a story that prompted and really kind of ignited my passion when it comes to account management and CSR, like your service team. Um, I worked for carriers and I was a rep for several years. And I'll never forget, I went into one of my favorite agency's office and we're talking. And if any of you guys have had reps come visit, they bring the donuts and we're all excited. And they start talking about, hey, I need you to write more, bridge, 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 bind, all of those wonderful things that we do. And we're talking, and he's like, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I'll never forget his answer to me. And it was, well, Angela, we don't have a retention problem here. We have a pricing problem. And I was like, really? Okay. Well, let's look at that. Let's if you got the time, I've got the time. So let's review a little bit and see what we can dig up. Maybe I can help you. And so as we started digging, we started seeing a pattern start to emerge. And it wasn't necessarily that they were losing accounts after renewals. They weren't really losing them, say, at the proposal stage, like the quoting stage. It's not like they were like, I don't want it. Um, they were losing them after service moments. So they were losing them within the service part of the agency. It was usually, you could tell after maybe multiple billing misunderstandings where they felt maybe brushed off, after a coverage question that was answered maybe quickly, but not clearly or in depth, because let's be honest, they get used to, or we want them to think of us as those trusted advisors. Um, or the great claim, right? After a claim where the client felt alone instead of supported. And here's the thing. No one was rude. They don't have like a rude staff. Nobody meant any harm. It's not like there was neglect. Policies were processed correctly, but it's the experience that felt transactional. Um, and when we think about that, it's important to note like most clients, they're not leaving because of some major catastrophic event or mistake that happened at the agencies. They're leaving quietly after enough times that trust felt thin, right? And almost every one of those moments, who was involved? A CSR, account manager, a service person. And not because the CSR failed is that happening, but it's because the CSR is the one that's holding the relationship in their hands, right? They're the ones that are in the thick of it all the time. That's why today we're not going to talk about admin work. We're not going to talk about how to be nice to difficult customers. I mean, honestly, it's not even really about handling difficult people. It's really about understanding that CSRs are the retention, your reputation, and the revenue protection. We're talking about protecting what you've already earned. CSRs are your front line. Oh, sorry. Look at that. I was just moving on. I'm like, oh, you guys got the whole thing. You're good. You're ready. So CSRs are frontline protection, not admin support. Every agency depends on them more than they probably even realize. While producers, we know they're fabulous. They bring in the front end business. CSRs are the ones that keep it. I always call them, they're the heartbeat that keeps the agency going. The CSR's roles, they've evolved, right? Clients expect guidance, clarity, professionalism, not just transactions. Not only that, don't even get started on instant gratification, right? Like they want everything yesterday or have that expectation. It costs significantly more to replace an existing client than it does. I'm sorry, it costs more to fight for that new client than it does to retain your existing one. And so that's why that retention piece is so important, just as much as important, if not a little more. Don't get mad if you're a producer on the call, maybe just a tins more than that new business piece. Because whatever you're bringing in the front, we can't just let it out the back. When service breaks down, agencies lose not just accounts, but referral opportunities, reputation, long-term revenue stability. You don't lose clients because of one bad policy, right? You lose them because of one bad experience. And we also know that the CSR, because when it's transferred from the producer to the CSR, that experience transfers, right? So if that bad experience happens at CSR, that producer could lose that relationship of referral as well. Service 100% is trust, right? Easy transactions don't define relationships. Difficult moments do. It's the moments when we're going, how can I help this person? Or maybe I love the story I have of that person that was on a bridge, and their tire blew and they're trying to get a tow truck and they're calling me at the agency and I'm just going, do you want me to call one for you? Like, and actually, yeah, I did. Darn right I did. And I didn't want to at first. And I was like, how does this, like, you have coverage, like, just you have to get reimbursed. And I just could feel that they were alone and that they needed somebody. And I was like, okay, look, I can give me a second. And thank goodness, I'm not too old and we had Google and I wasn't sifting through white pages or something like that. So I pulled up a couple ones and gave them to her and then called one and was able to help her. And that's those difficult moments where we have to make the decision of really taking that and building a relationship or sticking with what we maybe normally do when it's a customer. It's like, okay, thank you. There's also, because of, trust is built or broken in service moments, like claims issues, billing confusions, coverage misunderstandings. And we're either going to do what we need to keep building that trust, or it's going to erode and you're going to start losing that relationship. And I think it's always important to note that professionalism isn't about being polite, right? Sure, everybody's pretty much polite. It's more about consistency, about accuracy, and follow through. Ownership means seeing the issue through from start to finish. This is how work is done, not just what's done. So what good CSR work looks like. So excellent CSR work is reliable, and this is the part I love, reliable and intentional. So I'm going to say it a little louder for the people in the back, reliable and intentional. Clients should feel confident that their account is being handled with care every time, not sometimes, every time. Processing and endorsements not the same as protecting an account. Ownership means ensuring the client understands what changed and why it matters. Or why, better yet, they shouldn't make the change just because somebody wants to make that change. Is it really in their best interest to do so? Did we finish it or did we protect it? So it's moving from just doing the work, from just doing a process, to keeping protection in mind, giving them the why and building that additional trust that pretty much any role in an agency should be striving to be trusted advisor. They want to build that trust. So if you do have to hand it off to somebody that is more experienced, they're ready because they trust your decision to hand them off. So common misconceptions that hurt service, right? It's all about didn't ask questions. I did what they asked. That's not my responsibility. So these mindsets are common and damaging. Clients don't always know what questions to ask. You hear it a lot. I know I say it a lot. You don't know what you don't know. Professional service anticipates needs rather than reacting to requests. When service varies from one interaction to the next, clients lose confidence in the agency. How many times has it been, well, I talked to Sandra and she told me that I can do that. Well, you can't, so you have to be consistent because then they're always going to ask for Sandra because, oh, Sandra's going to do something special that Angela can't. So consistency matters because that's what's going to build trust. So it doesn't matter if Sandra's not in that day. They're going to trust Angela because we're telling them the same thing. So most behavior that's difficult, right? I'm sure there's not one person on this call that has not had a difficult customer. I know I share a lot of stories, but you guys, this is why I think insurance is fun because man, the stories that we have when we go home at night, it's insane, right? So the one that I had more than anything that I was just blown away by was we have customers that are on, automatic payments, right? And I mean, this customer called me and blessed me out because her check was returned. And I'm like, why was it returned? Well, because the money wasn't there, And I remember just her just going in on me about it and like it's all of my fault. But I knew I had to take a breath, right? Honestly, I was probably 20 at the time. I would have loved to just hang up the phone. You know what I'm saying? But no, we have to give them that minute and understand that emotion is what is driving that behavior. When that emotion is high, logic does not land. Clients are often just reacting to uncertainty or fear and stress, confusion, and not intentionally being challenging. The emotion itself is what drives first, and facts come second. So, you can't reason with somebody when they're just emotionally charged. CSRs must address emotional escalation before moving into problem solving. It's giving that customer that space to just get it out. And then you have to stabilize the conversation, right? Stabilizing is a real professional skill. Once emotions are managed, then solutions become easier and more effective. They're able to then hopefully communicate better. Recognize triggers allows CSRs to prepare for emotional conversations rather than being caught off guard. And I, I was definitely caught off guard on that one. I thought it was going to be an easy conversation, right? It's pretty simple. You have an automatic draft and the money wasn't there, so your bill didn't get paid. I was wrong. So you really have to make sure that you have that emotional professionalism, that you can hear that, see it, recognize it. And some of the triggers you already know going into the call. If it's billing issues, I learned my lesson. Claim situations and coverage misunderstandings. If you go in knowing more than likely that they're going to be upset, that doesn't mean that you get nervous and you don't want to talk to them or you avoid them. It is a challenge. It should be a positive thing. This is your chance to build a better relationship with this customer. It is not a negative thing because we're all humans and things happen. We're not perfect, but we know that when things do happen, if we handle it properly, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for more things to come that will happen that'll be so much better. It's about how we handle it. So communicating strategies for challenging situations. We all know words matter, tones matter, structures matter. Have you heard it's not it's not what you say, it's how you say it? It's great when we're talking tone and structure. I could go, communicate strategies, challenge situations. Way different than how I'm talking right now. Communication strategies, challenging situations. So matter, tone, structure matters. And I think another thing that matters a lot that we don't talk about, it's not just tone and structure, it's also volume. You don't want your volume to be where I was 5 seconds ago if somebody's really upset, because then it's like you're matching that negative energy. So there's a de-escalation framework here. So first, it's what I said before. You want to acknowledge that emotion and then clarify the issue. A lot of times it's just rephrasing it, what they said, to clarify that you're understanding exactly what they feel the problem is, and then guide toward that solution. Strong communication is learned, practiced, and redefined. The sequence helps prevent conversations from spiraling while maintaining professionalism. So language that tends to build trust is, what I can do is, here's the next best step. So you want to always choose a positive or solution-oriented answer when there's an emotionally charged customer. So this one's really really fun for me because I think we all kind of struggle with this, where do we set our boundaries, right? Where do we redirect versus escalate? And sometimes, let's be honest, I'm not afraid to admit it. What is redirecting? Some of us might not realize what that is. It's not a term maybe that we all use all the time. So I want to talk through this a little bit. Professional boundaries are actually strengthening client relationships. Boundaries really, they're not rude. They're protection, right? They're protection for the agency and they're protection for your own energy and your own self-worth. So it's important to have boundaries that protect both parties. And that's something that you need to be consistent on within the agencies. CSRs that feel supported when escalation issues come in or with their set boundaries are way more successful because they're not in fear and they're not going to take abuse outside of your set boundaries for a client that's upset and when to do certain things. So I want to talk a little about redirecting versus escalation. So redirecting is when you stay in control, right, of the interaction, but you shift the focus or path. So example, I love this one. This is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. I'm trying to think of like the words and not say what the person really said to me. This is so ridiculous, and you people always mess up my bill, and you don't know anything. And that redirect, Like going back to literally that conversation, it's not my fault that that money, you didn't pull the money out in time. It was there yesterday. You should have pulled it yesterday. I can hear that this is frustrating. Let's review the invoice together and we can identify exactly where the confusion is. I'm going to give you my real response and my real redirection on that. Okay. So in that moment, my real redirection was, I can hear how upset you are. And I get it. We've all been there. Like it's fine. But let's really get into why. So give me a second. I'm going to pull up your billing statement and let's look at like when it was pulled from our end, because a lot of it has to do with your bank. So if we need to get your bank or need to check on that, I'm happy to help however I can. But let's see if we can get this figured out for you. That was pretty much my real redirection with them. And in that case, it worked a little bit. At least, I mean, at the end of it, they were more mad at their bank than me. So if I'm going to redirect, at least I'll redirect the anger to somebody else, if all else fails. But seriously, it really is about just redirecting that energy and just knowing how to do that. Where it moves into escalation is you involve someone else because the situation either exceeds your authority, role, or very important here, your safe boundaries. That is when threats are made, maybe legal language begins to get thrown around, or, I'm going to get my lawyer involved, or that's okay, I'm going to call the DOI, or I'm going to do this. If there's coverage disputes that maybe are outside of your authority, maybe you're not a licensed CSR, maybe you are a licensed CSR, but maybe it's not something that you feel that you can solve for them. Or better yet, maybe the client just refuses the resolution and demands higher authority. And that is never fun. If you can't tell, I'm not one that likes to give up. I'm not one that wants to hand it off to anybody. Everybody wants to feel like they can accomplish this. And there is not a better feeling in the world when you can change a negative situation into a positive. And sometimes that means we got to pass it off. So if you're emotionally triggered and you need backup, escalation is judgment, not weakness. And remember that. Asking for help is not weakness. It's a judgment call. And that's you being professional and protecting your own energy. So example, I'm contacting the attorney. Escalation would be, I understand your concern. And at this point, I'm going to involve a manager or I'm going to involve somebody else because I am not of the leadership team because I'm not sure that I can come to a conclusion or solution with you. And I know that they can handle this properly for you. And ask yourself 3 questions before you escalate. Is this within my authority? Is the client still respectful? That's an important one. Can I move this toward solution? If answer is yes to those, redirect. If it's no, escalate. So CSR standards drive the retention. CSR excellence requires leadership support, right? Agency must reinforce standards and not undermine them. You cannot have a CSR or service team that you've said, here's our standard of service, here's what we're going to do, and then constantly turn around and do something different. You undermined their authority and decrease their power. They will no longer feel empowered to make good judgment decisions. Retention's not luck. It's 100% standards. Poor service creates hidden revenue loss, churn, negative referrals or no referrals, increased remarketing work. Strong service creates predictability. Service failures often go unnoticed until clients leave, right? So strong service is going to stabilize revenue and agency growth versus hurt that. And you're losing that more churn out of the back door. So think of CSR. This is when it's that revenue protection. Poor service creates hidden revenue loss. Strong service creates predictability. So remember core CSR behaviors: ownership, communication, emotional awareness, consistency. Service excellence protects clients, culture, and revenue. Small changes create big impact. CSRs are not just supporting the agency, they are protecting it. CSRs equipped, supported, and confident, agencies thrive. So your retention, reputation, revenue is really all being built behind the scenes. CSR success doesn't happen by chance. It's supported by strong systems. You can't protect accounts without financial visibility, clear service standards, consistent workflows, strong leadership support, and the right technology tools. Predictable service, stronger retention, reputation, and revenue. If you want high standards, and I'm sure everybody does, and I'm talking like if you're a CSR, you should have your own high standards, right? You should hold your standards above what others' expectations are. So if you want high standards, you must build systems that support them. And that's exactly what we do at Angela Adams, and why I love where this retention, reputation, revenue, all that goes into literally full circle of your agency. Financial visibility, clear service standards, consistent workflows, because that's consistent workflows, protection, not just for CSRs and clients, but for you. That helps with your E&O. And having a strong leader to support is so important. And then, of course, I am a tech person, you guys, but it's the right technology, not just technology because it's pretty or it's new. So that's what I have for you guys. I hope you kind of get what I'm throwing down there. I want to give a chance for you guys to ask some questions. Like, give me some hard questions here. Give me scenarios. Like, this is the part of the meeting that I love and I always try to leave enough room for, because I want you guys to feel like you get a takeaway from this. So if you've got something on your mind or you want to ask a question, throw it out there. And then actually, before you guys do that, I do want to show you one other thing. I know I mentioned it and realized I did not move my slide. So I do want you guys to have that visual. I'm a visual person. So if I would have not shown it to you, I'd have felt really bad. But this kind of puts it into kind of pillars for you guys where people in retention fall in, and kind of where Angela Adams has built a foundation for a successful agency and what that kind of looks like based off of really what we talked about: people retention, process and reputation, technology, and revenue. And that those are just some of the things that we look at and how we help build and support teams. So now you guys can have your questions now that you can see the visual there.
Guys, I did make it where you can unmute yourselves now, or you're welcome to type a question in the chat. Angela, I did want to say we did have one comment from Uriah that
Yeah.
she made a good point. A big part of it too is also recognizing your own personal triggers as a
Yes.
CSR. Because I know when I was on the agency side, when I was in the golf business, people could come in and yell and scream at me all they wanted, but if they ever attacked any of my employees, that was one of my triggers that I had to learn to breathe through and de-escalate and take that slowly.
Yes. Like 100%. And that's really where you set those boundaries, right? Like that's what you definitely mean by that. And you have to take into account your own experience and things that are triggering, and that has to be supported by leadership as well. And they have to understand that. And y'all, I'm going to laugh because Angela Adams is in here. Y'all, I knew it. 25th anniversary. I'm sitting here going, it's 25th, right? Y'all, 25 years in business. So I'm like, oh, how could I have forgot that? I'm like, it's in there somewhere. But yes, so 25 years you guys of doing this, and all across the world across the country on really helping people and looking into insurance agencies. Um, I think Jonathan did say, will we get a copy of the presentation? I think there's a recording. So, yep. And it's going to be on the Big Eyes, their New Mexico's website as well. So if you have some people that you think really should see this, or you want to share it with, they can go right there and review that.
So does anyone have any questions, or does anyone have maybe a story or scenario that they want to share from their customer service? Because I know, we try to narrow it down to CSRs, but everybody in the business deals
Everybody.
with clients and customers
Yep.
and happy ones and angry ones. And so if you have a story, please share. Otherwise, we will wrap it up, but I want to give you guys a minute or two to chime in.
Matt, this is Julie at Acuity. I just wanted to say thank you to our presenter. Thank you to the Big Eye and to New Mexico Mutual for putting this together. I thought it was fantastic. And I did want to add that I've had some really difficult situations where it was maybe myself and the underwriter and an agent. So it applies not just to CSRs, it's company people, it's producers, it's CSRs, account managers,
Everybody.
everyone. But I've had an ugly situation and handled well. I really felt that we did the best relationship building when we were done with the situation, all because of how it was handled. So the ugliest of situations, as you mentioned earlier, can be the biggest relationship builders when handled well. So I just wanted to share that.
I love that, Julie. Thank you. I always joke like about how I love, conflict. I don't really love conflict. What I love is conflict resolution. What I love is turning that negative into a positive. I try not to go into any of those situations like dreading it, right? Because I'm like, at the end of the day, we're going to all be okay. And it might hurt a little, but if we can manage to figure this out and pull it kind of together, there's not a better feeling. And I'm so glad you feel shared that, Julie, because it's the truth. Like you are on cloud nine when you're able to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a great feeling. The stress can be high, but I've seen it repeatedly end up with really great results. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Anybody else have anything like that? Like, honestly, this is your time. I know I moved kind of quick through that, but I really wanted to give you that chance. It's not often that you get to have kind of a open interaction when you're in a webinar like this. So I'm happy to answer or help any way that I can.
Angela,
Yeah.
hello. Hi, this is Vivian Lilly. I'm calling from the Daniels Insurance Agency, and Julie kind of hit what I was going to ask, and what has happened as well. Sometimes it's with the underwriters because they are our clients as well. And so that's where one of the things that you have to learn how to smooth it out and how to talk to them, because if you do not give them the respect, but of course they have to give it back to us, you can ruin a relationship.
100%. And you are so right. And this takes me back to being in the agency days for sure. It's kind of like when I was talking about like, oh, I want to talk to Sandra. It's the same way with underwriters. I don't know if you guys do the same thing, but there's so many times I would pick up the phone, and if it was not like the one that I wanted, I hang up. Like I'm like, nope, I'm gonna try to get somebody else because I just have that relationship. It just happened that I've had to call him a couple times. And so we built this rapport, and it does go a long way, you guys. Like getting that underwriting connection. And I love how you were able to translate this to that too. So smart. Like you're right. It's a really good opportunity to build those relationships.
And one of the things, Angela, that I've learned is that sometimes you will get a rude email from an underwriter, and they will, you might be asking them for something, or they'll say, on this day at 12:01 a.m., I sent you this or whatever. Don't give them that same negative energy back.
Yep.
What you need to do, even though you know that you didn't get it. Really apologize. I sent it, I didn't get it. Can you please resend it? And then usually they'll say, oops, I'm sorry, I didn't send it, or oops, I did get this. So don't match their energy, because that is not going to end well.
Yep. I say that all the time. It's so important. You don't want to match their energy. And it's one of those things that's more of exchange. You don't want to match their energy. Instead, you want to absorb their energy, and then you bring a different energy back to the table. And it goes a long, long way. It makes a huge difference in any relationship. But again, I love that because it's so true. Oh, I remember those. Definitely. Sometimes it's okay to swallow the pride a little bit and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I must have missed that." Great point. Love that.
Great input, Vivian, and that's why she's great at what she does. Thanks,
Yes.
Vivian.
So good. Anybody got
All right.
anything else?
Anything else? Any other questions or scenarios or comments? All right.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And everybody took a little piece away from it. And again, as you kind of are looking through and thinking about your agency, if there's anything that, hit and you want to talk more with us about, we'd be excited to talk with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela, and thank you for everyone that joined us today. I felt like our first class in BigiLEAD went well, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year bringing value-added webinars like this to our membership. I did want to thank Angela Adams Consulting as well. They are a new associate member of the Big I New Mexico, so thank you so much for that. And we really hope and look forward to you guys coming out to our convention and getting to meet some of these people face to face.
Yes, awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and we're always here to help.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.